and welcome to Garblad Games Masters and Monsters.
Hello and welcome back to episode 6. We are back with Masters and Monsters, the Mage the Ascension game here on Garblad Games after our little hiatus for our Zweihander show, which you can see on the channel, and I may even, if I'm bothered, put a link up above Sam's head somewhere on the screen. Who knows? In a moment, Sam's going to do a recap.
Yes.
Before that, we're going to go around and say who we are and who we're playing. But before that, don't forget to go and check us out on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. There's loads of stuff on there. We're sharing loads of things. We tell you all about the things we're doing. All pointing towards our Patreon, where we're sharing loads of cool maps and artwork and background stories for characters in this show. So there's loads of stuff on there that's free. There are a few tiers that you can go in and support the show on if you want to. The first tier being just $1 a month, and you get a load of free stuff. We have done a load of maps, one of which is now being published in the Zweihander Kickstarter main gauche book. So there's stuff on there about that as well, so go and check that out. We are doing anything else? Any other announcements before we do? I don't think
Flint
we
and
have.
Steel starting again soon?
Thank you, Adam. Flint and Steel is beginning next week with a character conversion episode. We are moving over to 4th edition from 2nd edition. And we're going to be working out how we convert the characters sort of on the fly as we go, which will be fun for a couple of hours. So don't forget to check that out next weekend as well. Other than that, I think that's everything we have to announce before we get started.
Mm-hmm.
So we shall begin on my left.
Okay, I'm Sam and I'm the storyteller.
I'm Colin. I'm playing Rufus William Foxmere, the Akashic brother and army captain.
I'm Abe Cohen, member of the Society of Ether.
I'm Roger. I'm playing Ron McDougall, who is the Verbena Canadian soldier who was a Mountie with a dog
With a dog.
called Ollie.
Importantly, the dog is the main character.
That's because Ollie is
Ron
better
is
than
the
my
NPC.
character.
I'm Pete. I'm playing Jeremy Cranthorne, the ex-accountant Order of Hermes Mage, who honestly got shot in the foot during the war and had to come home and do stuff for the Home Office.
Right, so we're going to begin with a recap, because it's been a few weeks and we've probably lost track. I've almost definitely lost track. So, what we did last week, we found our characters laying a trap for someone to return to the grocery store in Chinatown, where you had previously rescued the young kid and his strange cyborg jailer, I suppose. The trap was laid generally expertly. There are a couple of slightly dodgy rolls here and there. The mist, however, was frickin' fantastic.
I think my stealth went pretty well.
It did.
Yeah,
Not everyone
myself,
else's
but
didn't.
went-
Yeah, it was not everyone
One of my
else's.
best rolls, no.
No, and had to be told where to hide. But the mist was freaking fantastic. The mist was brilliant. Right, so...
Jeremy hid in the pub across the road.
and yes, Jeremy and Abe hid in the pub across the
Sensible,
road
safe distance
with
with a pint.
with a pint and the crossword, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because that was probably a better use of their time, which it probably was. Eventually, a man returned who you presume was the person that had abducted the child in the first place, Tony, in the first place. Now, the fight with him was somewhat brief. He was somewhat injured and not perhaps in the best physical condition, but you nevertheless, pretty conclusively, he fell through the floor. It was fairly quick, and there was various threatening that happened about it.
And I believe getting shot.
And you believe getting
I
shot.
believe he got shot in the
He
leg.
did get
Yeah,
shot
I
in the
did shoot him.
leg. You did shoot him in the leg.
Shot him?
I shot him in the kneecap. I could have killed him, but that would have been impolite.
Before or after you shouted, "Stop, or I'll shoot"?
Well, unfortunately, he didn't go straight down,
No,
so
I
I
know.
kind of wanted him to not be standing up.
I know.
Yes. So, either way, he was pretty conclusively
Captured.
captured. At this point, these other two did make their way out of the pub.
Reluctantly.
It became pretty clear reasonably quickly on that though the person you had caught was awakened, they were probably not an Afandi master, primarily due to the fact that they didn't respond that well to being shot and just laid still and did as you said, which is not a known sort of function of Nefandic masters. So the upshot of this was, I believe, that we talked to him a little bit, and several of the player characters began to work out an opinion as to who he might be. Who can remember who he
He's
might
the brother
be?
of the person on the other end of the typewriter.
Yes.
Twin brother of the person on the other end of the typewriter.
Yes, indeed.
And a missing Euthanatos.
Yes.
And
Which names? I think.
we basically put a lot
think
of
Aid's
stuff
got it
together
written
and
down
went,
from the
oh,
side,
so
yeah.
you're connected to that, to that, to that. And he's looking for twins, and oh, right.
Yes.
Oh, and he's also looking for a particular group of people who I know where they are. And
Yes. Has Abe got his name written down? Because I must admit, I looked at this and have now clean forgotten.
Andrew Garrett.
Andrew Garrett, that's
Yes.
it. He and his sister, he's Euthanatos, his sister was Celestial Chorus, both went missing in Central Europe a little while back now. And were both on missing lists. And as he said, he expressed that the Nefandi was interested in him due to the fact they were twins and kept going on about twins, but he kind of felt they'd lost interest in him. He'd lost interest in them a little bit, like maybe they weren't really what he was looking for. As I said, and then Colin, who is quite a long way, no, that way.
other side on the camera.
Roger, point out.
Someone pointed Colin. Marvellous. There we go. My left and right is not my strong point at the best of times. That perhaps they weren't looking for the Garrett brother and sister all along. Maybe they were looking for somebody else. At
It's going to be interesting considering that my twin is, a ghost who follows me around and tries to get me killed.
Yes, which is going to be extremely interesting as to how that's going to work out. And also say that his sister was probably the one that had produced the strange, badly made typewriter lock mechanism type artifact that was in Abe's lab.
Probably called Elsa.
Oh, I believe it's called Elsa. And that maybe this is why she's been trying to get messages out somehow. But trying to make it talk in anything other than Shakespeare is still not really yielding very much.
Yeah.
At this point, Rufus decided to share with the rest of the group stuff that he told Harry previously. That he had previously been working with a group of Verbena in Norway who had this sort of extremely half-cocked plan about how they were going to try, and there was an artifact being dug up at one of the Nazi stations near the fjords. They were going to try and go in when the artifact was up, somehow grab it, somehow use it, and somehow kill an Nefandin master. And nobody thought they were going to be able to do this at all. And it also appears to be that said Nefandin master is, by coincidence, as never happens in the world of darkness, also the one that had kidnapped the Garrett twins.
And happens to be one that the Tremere have been after for a while after he betrayed them, killed half his students, took the
Yes,
rest
he killed the
and-
Order of Hermes, stole a load of premium and buggered off, basically.
Premium.
Premium, a shiny, shiny, shiny anti-magic metal.
Yeah.
Which
And we
lots
have
of...
a bullet with his name on it.
And you do have
We
a
do.
bullet with his name on it. So,
Literally. A bullet with
Literally.
his... Someone
Literally.
has crafted a bullet
Not
with
like
his name on it.
Baldrick.
no, it is a
Carving his own
bullet.
name into a bullet.
It is a
He
bullet.
also has a bullet with his name on it.
He does, yes, but this is actually a bullet with his name on it. So, at the end of this sort of conversation, you had two main outcomes. One being this guy really actually needs some form of hospital treatment.
Well, he was in the hospital when we were having the conversation.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
that's true for the gist of it. But either way, he definitely needed taking somewhere. Also, that you got some details from him about how he was contacting this guy that was controlling
And
him.
we'd spoken to
And you had a dodgy visitor as well.
We'd spoken to the
Yeah.
vampire
Old
who'd,
Nick.
Old Nick.
who'd found this this ritual site, and we'd kind of said we were going to go down and destroy it, and now I'm really thinking that we shouldn't go down and destroy it because we want the Nefandus to believe that
He's
Yeah,
still up.
he's still working
Yeah,
for him.
yeah. We thought at
Which means he needs
first,
to kill.
let's
Yeah,
destroy
I
it.
think
And then
we did
talking to
decide
him,
that.
it's like, was checking his life signs. They want to keep...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep it.
as much as anything, he says his sister will almost definitely be killed if he's thought to have failed.
Yeah.
And that they were interested in Tony because, again, they believed him to be some sort of reincarnation of another soul that this Nefandi was interested in. So, Andrew needed a hospital, and also you all decided that Harry needed to know about this somewhat urgently.
Yes.
Harry, however, has been taking Tony, the kid you rescued earlier, down to a very safe old Order of Hermes chantry in Warwick, and is not expected back much before the morning. So you took Andrew to St Peter's and St Paul's, which is the Army Hospital in the centre of London, whereby a very nice doctor
The
that
name of the last episode.
and the name of the last episode, whereby a very nice doctor decided to look after him, and you all decided the most sensible thing you could do before Harry got back was probably go and get some sleep, because you had been on the go for quite a lot of hours at
Yeah.
that point, and then leave
Foot's hurting.
every possible message with every possible thing Harry might check to say, let you know as soon as he's up and in his office again.
Yes.
Um,
And we all had weird dreams.
And you all had weird dreams. So,
We might need a recap of the
we shall recap the weird dreams. So, Rufus had a dream that he may or may not have had before. It's up to Colin on this
I
one.
think probably has had
Which is, you're running around a townhouse in London and you're trying to find somebody. In your head, as it often is the way in dreams, you know exactly who it is and everything about her, but when you wake up, it's all gone again.
Yeah.
You're yelling her name over and over, and you can hear that there is an air raid taking place outside. You're running from room to room, yelling her name, trying to find her. You eventually find her upstairs, hiding under the bed in one of the bedrooms. She's all the way far back against the wall, and she looks too terrified to move. And you're desperately trying to get her to take your hand, and then you just hear something crashing above your heads.
Yep.
Abe had fantastic dreams.
Literally.
Literally. Abe dreamt all kinds of weird sort of sci-fi things going on. There were Vikings in space,
Vikings.
there were aliens, there were ray guns, there were probably green women, all of this kind of stuff.
Gotta have
Maybe-
green women.
I was going to say.
Obviously, it's still very sci-fi. It has to have women of strange colours.
Women today.
Yeah.
Go on
So
reality teachers. It's not sci-fi without
exactly,
green women.
without green women. So yeah, you had
Well, it might
fantastic
be now.
dreams. There were epics, there were stars, there were adventures. It was all fantastic, and it was actually a really good dream. And as we sort of established, Abe definitely sounds like the sort of person that keeps a notepad by the side of his bed. So when you wake up, you've scrawled all sorts of things in this notepad as well at different points in the night.
Just says green women, green women, green women.
Ron also had actually relatively good dreams, though much more peaceable. You dreamt of being a kid in the house you grew up in again in Canada, in the rural area of Canada, and seeing this massive thunderstorm roll in over the treetops, and this huge cloud bank, and the lightning sort of literally just catching and sort of scoring its way through the clouds, and just watching this sort of power and just feeling the pressure change and this sort of cold front come in as this magnificent storm rolled up and towards you. Jeremy's dreams were of the less good variety again. In this instance, you're in a monochrome landscape. There's no colour even in your own dress and skin if you look down. There is a blackened, gnarled tree in front of you, which has a ton of crows sitting in it, cawing, and there's strange little bits of fabric and hopefully not skin and things hanging off of different branches. And there's a woman next to you in a very, very deep hood, so you can't really see her features, and says, "Are you sure? Are you ready?" And your foot really, really hurts. And then you wake up.
Okay.
So that is where we left our characters. You are all awoken by either, in the case of, I think, Rufus and Ron are in barracks, aren't they? I think have been found somewhere, probably in Hyde Park, because it's the nearest place. You've probably gone back to Cranfield, I'm assuming, overnight. Yep. And Jeremy is wherever Jeremy is. Somewhere where somebody possibly picks up the telephone.
Yeah.
Even if it's not him, I presume. Right. You two are woken, in barracks, are woken about 6:30. Unless your characters think they're the kind of people that are already up at 6:30 naturally, but you were up till really freaking late, so you might not be. You're all woken by basically a boy that runs the messages in the barracks, saying there's been a telephone call, someone's sending a car for you to take to the Ministry of War. You've got 15 minutes or whatever. You are woken up by one of the guys that works the switchboard at Cranfield who'll ring your room and say, "Whitehall is sending for you. We've got one of the staff cars ready to go when you are, boss."
All right, yeah. Yeah, so sure. I'll be ready in a minute.
Yeah. Do you think Jeremy has a housekeeper
I think,
maybe or something like that?
housekeeper, since I'm injured.
Yeah.
But it's not a very large home.
No.
Not that he doesn't have the money. He's just a bit tight. And it's quite modestly and Spartan decoration, drab curtains, not very nice upholstery on the seats and things. But nothing's like threadbare or grotty or anything.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just
well, the
boring.
order wouldn't allow
It's
for that, really.
boring.
In which case you are woken by your housekeeper saying that there has been a telephone call. You are required in Whitehall and they're sending a car.
I anticipated as much.
So I'm going to... Rufus will get dressed quickly because he wants to spend some time trying to talk with the ghost whose nightmare he thinks he just had, and basically just be reassuring and try and comfort the ghost whose nightmare he had.
Yeah, as I said, she's actually surprisingly communicative. When you come back from getting dressed, she's kind of sitting on the edge of your bed looking a bit resigned about everything.
Cool.
Yes, you can try and sort of comfort her. She is quite upset, and it does sound like it is her dream, yes. Well, and a little bit of you as well, because obviously
Yeah, but
she's just reliving what killed her, basically, but the running from room to room desperately trying to find her is probably your head interpreting that.
yes.
Though she, as she often does, expressed some sorry that it's a shame that you weren't both there at the same time, because then you might have been able to do things about it in reality. Right. On your way out, because we said you and your guys have kind of got your own sort of bunk rooms and stuff off from like where your areas are.
Yeah.
Without you even having to put your prime senses up, something on your shelf of weird artifacts is blipping at you.
What? Can I tell which one it is?
Yeah, it looks like the Silver Age gun, the freaky ray gun that's been off all this while, as far as you can tell. And you've even made some inquiries about whether dimensional scientist specialists want to look at it.
Yeah. It's a 1950 style looking ray gun thing, but it's not responded to.
No, to anything or anyone.
Okay. Well, we should have a look at it. No, actually, I'll tell what's his face to have a look at it.
Jacob.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, boss? What time even is it? What is it? What are we doing?
Well, Jacob, get
James
up.
Webb, what?
The gun's doing something, and I need to go. Make sure it's not doing anything dangerous.
Alright.
I'm going to Whitehall, so yeah, give me a call.
Well, sure, so you go to Whitehall. What are you supposed to do if the gun does do something? You'll be in Whitehall.
Yeah, give me a call.
There's a stream of random Russian obscenities for your general interaction.
Russian, you say?
Periodically German, periodically Yiddish. Depends on his mood, really, how he swears.
Cool.
But he's just been woken up, and Russia has some quite nice sort of guttural swear words. Right. So, yeah, all right, you can yell at him to look at it instead. That's fine. Right. Are you all making your way to Whitehall?
Yeah, just
right.
get in the car.
When you get into, you're basically shown straight into Harry's office by one of the staff ladies that you met before. Pretty much as soon as you open the door, the smell of coffee hits you. It is that strong. He looks like he's got some sort of Turkish coffee teapot that's clearly been made up for him, but it's a big one. And he looks better than you saw him at Cranfield because he's back in his sanctum, so he can move a bit more normally now. And you can he is basically laying out 5 cups unless anybody stops him at this juncture. Gentlemen, come in. Right, and he starts to pour, and you can literally see it's when it's sort of glooping Turkish coffee that you know it's doing well. Gentlemen. He starts,
Good to see you feeling a bit better there, Harry.
a bit better to be home. And whizzes. Do come in, do take a seat. He doesn't look like he slept, to be perfectly honest with you. Right.
So I was thinking that's what the coffee was for.
Yes, coffee.
I was
yes.
being nice.
He looks down at the 5 cups and says something along the lines of, I don't know what you lot are drinking. And then does start sort of pushing it in your general direction across the table, but we'll need a bit of help on the left-hand side, probably.
Everything okay in Warwick?
Yes, Tony's fine. Mother and sister have been sent up as well. And we're setting them in a house in the grounds, I think, in the first instance. I don't want to put him straight into the school and the dorms and stuff while he's still a bit disorientated. So they've settled the 3 of them down there. I think he'll be all right. They're good people, and England will have to fall before that chantry does. So, which, you know, is more of a possibility than we'd all like it to be, but
talk about such things.
But he's as safe as he's getting for now.
Sure.
You left me messages, various messages.
Yeah.
Yes, we had an eventful night, or at least
It sounds like it.
insightful night.
So I've actually read them, so you can probably spare me the details. But where are we at? Where are we suggesting? What are we doing? What's going on?
So he's in hospital.
Yep, I gathered
At
that
some
much.
point, relatively soon, we're going to need to get him down to the subway so he can report in and pretend to still be working for his boss.
Yeah, just after lunchish, isn't it? Something like that, he said. Nick's put us basically a sheet of corrugated metal. No one else is going to move on top of it for now, but he hasn't disturbed it. So I think that's what that was what was suggested to him, I think, out of Limehouse. Cover it up, but don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were thinking of destroying it at the time, but
Well,
reconsidered.
he's covered it up. He's put an inch thick plate of steel over it, so no one else is getting to it for now. But
Definitely. Excellent. Well, that's good safety precaution. Sorry, I didn't sleep very well. I had a very
you and me
odd
both,
night's
Jeremy.
sleep.
You and me both.
Looks like we should shortly be going to Norway.
there's also that.
Got some semblance of that. So obviously I passed
so the
on.
Nefandus that kidnapped those two,
Yes,
the
the Garrett twins, yeah.
is the one whose apprentice or whatever is digging up something for him in Norway.
Right, and we think he's going to go and join the dig at some juncture.
And we think he's going to go and join the
There's a
dig.
countdown.
We also think that... Well, I also think that they grabbed the Garrett twins because they were looking for twins, and he since realised they weren't the twins he was looking for.
Right.
Or
These
that's
aren't
what
the twins you're looking for. Sorry, Roger and I did just the same thing at the same moment there.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
That's the clip
We
for,
should just-
Facebook.
We should just
That's a bit
ignore that
forget.
side from...
Probably sensible.
Anyway, yes. At least that's what Andrew was saying.
Right.
I am wondering if the twins he thinks he is looking for is me and a ghost.
Pardon?
In which case he's going to be profoundly disappointed. Would you
Well-
care to elaborate?
I thought I'd mentioned.
Well, yes, but he'd have to have had some wind of you or something. I mean, I know it's an unusual phenomena, but it's not unheard of. Or do
But
we
would
think...
seem to fit the description. I think he's probably. My guess would be he's looking for a. He's looking for something that matches that description he thought the Garrett twins did, and he's since realised they don't quite fit.
No. They're two...
They're twins in blood rather than twins in soul.
Exactly. They are two completely independent individuals that just happen to have spared a womb at some point. They're not spiritually linked.
Did he say ghost?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we met a vampire yesterday. So, ghosts.
Sometimes the dead don't stay as dead as we would like, but luckily most of them stay well beyond a wall that they can't get to us. Is probably the simplest explanation. Some,
It's like
however...
a cloudy place.
Also, this might not necessarily be a ghost so much as actually a facet of enlightenment, because it was a shared...
Or a trans-dimensional creature.
Possibly, yes.
Or this young lady is not as quiet as we would hope the souls of most of the departed are as a result of the link she still shares with Rufus.
So you have a soul twin. I look around you like.
She's not.
It's not like the
showing
dog.
up right now. She comes and goes.
Okay. Good to know.
They're not normally visible to everybody else. Sorry.
Or we'll just shift uneasily and all this weird stuff going on.
That's fine.
Sometimes they are. Depends on them. So,
Yeah.
and the fact that you were there before would seem to imply that causality had some form of role in this matter.
She seems to have some. Okay, either her or my avatar has some link to one of the artifacts that you've got. I don't actually know which one of them was prompting me to prod various sides of it until a glyph of.
It was the puzzle box.
The puzzle box until that room turned up. But
Right, okay.
it was either my avatar wearing her face or her not bothering to disguise herself.
Right. Confusing life you must be
Okay.
leading.
It's very strange.
Rufus.
It's
It
very
is.
nice talking with you because I've read a lot about this stuff, but actually to hear people talk about it and experience it and meet vampires and things and potentially ghosts, who knows, in the next few
Nick
days.
is a...
It's a very different experience for me. I apologise, I'm still trying to kind of assimilate everything and kind of make it all measure up in my mind.
Harry's like, that never actually stops, can't on, trust me.
I'm sure.
So what's our next steps?
So this is the thing. As I say, as much as I'd love to gleefully pack you all off to Norway after breakfast, that's probably not the best. We do actually need some semblance of a plan.
I think it's also important.
really think us going up against an Nathandic Master without a very solid plan
is a very terrible
a good
idea.
way to hand over 4 souls to the Nathandic. Or
Well,
5.
Yes, what were you saying, Abe?
Well, this Francis Gilbert, this Fallen
Yes.
Hermetic, that we think this is
Yes.
probably the gentleman we're dealing with, yeah?
Mm.
From what Andrew was saying, it's not only that they're doing some sort of ritual in Norway, but I don't know if this is generally known that they're also experimenting with heavy water in the area. And from a non
I was going to say,
And
just,
then there's the premium thrown in as well.
yeah, just
from a non-enlightened science point of view, that's probably more important.
Just those of us that aren't scientists, how about you sort of recap heavy water for us here?
Well, I don't know how sort of need to know it all is and that sort of business.
We need to know.
Trust me, I need to know.
Well, there's a project that's mostly going on in America that we're helping out occasionally with to bring some very large, what you call a forces effect into the world. I.e. basically a bomb that's large enough to destroy a city. And it involves radioactive materials which are often found in heavy water.
I've seen it.
Ron will visibly flinch at the mention of that.
Oh, this would be,
I mean, it's nothing that's
Hornberg.
necessarily beyond a master mage, but it's
You
something...
mean Hornberg?
Not really, no, because that was kind of more of a time thing.
but probably a similar level of
yeah, that level of
destruction.
destruction.
Technology rather than magic.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. But this is
Something
this,
that can be reproduced
Because-
easily by...
because a master mage
people.
could do it. I mean, they might destroy themselves in the process, but they've been able to do it for centuries. But
And most of them have destroyed themselves in the process, which
but
is why.
this is moving it to more conventional.
On an assembly
science.
line.
Yeah.
Why would you
Why
want
would
to
we
create
wanna do that?
death?
Well, I'm not in charge of experimentations and research.
Harry says,
Yeah.
because there's a point that...
Let me guess. They're doing it.
Well, yes. But also, there becomes a point... A city would be a terrible price to pay. 10 cities would be an unbelievable price to pay, but for a world?
I'm so glad I don't have to make that kind of choice.
Neither
Harry.
do I, says Harry. I'm not
That is
I'm not
stark.
high enough up the pecking order to maybe making those choices even. That's being made at the high command of all
If it
of
comes
our
down to
traditions.
numbers and accounting,
then
you're
yes,
right.
exactly.
But
If the
how can
Nefandi
you
are going
count
to
up the
give
life of people?
if the Nefandi are going to give 3 billion people to their masters,
You
better
kill a
that
million
we
of them.
spend better we send 20 million.
20 million people.
So it's not a pleasant thing, but it is something that's been possible for a while. It's just making it.
But we
it's just
think-
moving the power to other people.
But we think this
To non-enlightened
heavy
people.
water
We
is
think
where
they're
they're
using
The heavy
that
water's
to
a route to
develop
it, yeah.
these
things themselves.
weapons.
Well, they're researching with heavy water in Norway. And I can't think of another thing they'd be researching heavy water for.
And neither can anyone on
Well, these people.
any
I
of
think
your
other
colleagues.
other reasons it'd be useful, but
And neither can any of your colleagues,
No.
is my understanding. We think if they're interested in this element, it's got to be to develop this
I mean,
technology.
I mean, there's myriad of useful uses. I mean, if you could make power stations
Hang
out
on.
of it, that'd be great.
And they have premium.
Yeah.
So they can
Well,
encase
Gilbert-
it in a premium shell.
So yeah, you wouldn't be able to magically stop it or whatever. Yeah.
Gilbert stole, about
How many pounds of premium?
not much because there isn't much in the whole world. 5, maybe 5.5.
How big is one of these things?
Well, I don't know the exact specs.
Size
of
But
it.
of-
premium-
Size of this room, size of that chair.
But
a
premium,
large bomb, sorry.
it's not like you
Probably.
need premium in every part of its working.
Of course.
You just need the casing.
Yeah. You just coat it in it. Or round
Yeah.
the... big
Well,
bomb.
there's tales of medieval crusaders using it as armour.
There's always tales of medieval crusaders using
But you can use, but that suggests you
Of
can
course.
work it like metal.
Yeah, of course. And you
Which
could even
suggests you
make
have
an
it as a
alloy
casing.
out of it.
Mhm.
Would that weaken it?
Or a thin plating
anyone
layer
ever-
on the outside of something else.
Like,
I mean, you couldn't use forces
like
to do
cheap,
it.
like cheap jewellery.
It's rare and very difficult
Well,
to
yes.
make. It's
You
only
can-
if you know how to make it at all, so I've not really been able to
And you
comment on
couldn't-
that many details on it.
No, and you couldn't use matter to
Master
beat it
Nefandi.
thinner or whatever.
Well, he
because-
probably can because he's not. He's a technical kind of guy, but
Point is, you can't
It's a
use
really
magic
rare
to work it.
You
but
can't use magic to work it, but there's a lot of clever people with very hot blowtorches in the world.
in theoretically you can use
A
magic
bomb
to
you
make
can't.
this.
Yeah.
A bomb you can't turn aside with magic
It's hard, it
with
takes
the power
ages.
to destroy an entire city.
City.
Yeah,
That is truly horrific.
yeah. I think that's more concerning than whatever ritual artifact he's trying to find. Although it might be just as bad. But this is a bit
I
more
don't
concrete.
know. The
And there's
I'd
a
say they're
correspondence
both pretty
ritual circle
terrifying.
beneath the city.
Mhm. Well,
Yes.
that's just be talking to, but I mean, if you casing a premium,
I think I
No, it won't go through the portal in the premium. They'll have to
Fine.
bring it here physically.
If they bother coating it with premium.
If
But
they
if they
bother
don't bother coating it with
premium,
premium,
they
if
can
they're
just
just going
send
to
it
shove
anywhere
it through
fancy.
a magical portal and let it go off.
Let us just hope that my understanding is, though our colleagues in America are very bright, they've yet to fully perfect this issue yet. Let us just hope.
It's still a project ongoing. That's
Yeah.
why I can't know how big it is. 'Cause
Let
they're
us
kind of
just
still
hope.
working out
Let
different
us
ideas.
just hope the Reich are running into similar
Let us hope.
difficulties.
That this thing never comes to pass.
Right. So, job the first
And
then.
obviously, that's not to be shared. Cause
No.
It's kind of, I don't see
Why would I share that with them? I would terrify them.
So, how far can we trust Garrett? Can he be trusted to go back down there again at lunchtime?
I think so.
He's willing to do
got-
anything to protect his sister.
All
That's the thing we need to be wary of as well, though.
Sure.
We need to
If they
convince.
manipulate him again.
We need to convince him that we're his best chance of getting his sister back.
Yes, because in the nicest possible way, I'm sure she's a lovely girl.
Mm-hmm.
And we would like to get her back, and the chorus would like me to get her back. Again,
We're willing
it's
to
one
blow up
life
20
versus
million people.
millions.
One person doesn't really
Exactly.
matter, does it? We can just throw it out.
But we need to make sure that Garrett thinks we're the best way of getting her back, even if we ourselves might not have a concrete plan just yet.
We've got a better plan than leaving.
Oh, we've got a better plan than leaving her there by a long shot.
So we go to Norway, we stop this chappie,
He's probably going to be bringing her.
and we
with-
blow up the helium-3.
He's probably going to be bringing her with him because she is his best lead at the moment on whatever.
And she's
thing.
another mage who, by the sounds of it, is pretty heavily under his dominion, even though it's not with us at the moment.
Yes.
That's still a spare battery if you need it.
So hopefully that gives us if we're there, that gives us a shot to get her out.
Right. Problem the next. Getting you there.
Are we the best ones to send? I mean, well, I'm sure you lot are, but myself, I'm not much of a field person.
Look, who is going to have the chance of deactivating some sort of bomb if we happen to come across one?
Also, Harry says, you
Who
know,
else is there?
6 years ago I'd have sent a reasonably large squad of House Flambeau, and then you guys could go in and pick up the pieces once they were finished. I haven't got any of them all anymore.
Yeah, because we're all idiots and
They're all-
run off into war first chance they get.
Or they're all died in Hornburg. They're all gone, to a greater or lesser extent. We work with what we've got, and what we've got at the moment is us 5, and any help you can wrangle out of your friends as well. So, I think the first plan, yes, we should try to prepare Andrew for going and convincing his master all is well at lunchtime.
Sorry, I'm walking over to wherever Harry keeps his brandy, and I'm pouring a few.
He's got one of those globes that opens up. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Ron
love
will
a
be
globe.
visibly pale
Yeah,
after
I'm
the
Yeah.
just
conversation.
open it up, and I'm just pouring everyone a shot, a short. Sorry.
Yes. Harry takes one look at it and dumps it in his
Speaking of
coffee.
which, does anybody want any wine?
No, thanks.
I'll have to tell you a little bit more. Yeah, he basically.
Always wine for storyteller.
Yes, he Harry takes one look at it and dumps it in his coffee and carries on. Right. So Norway is under the Reich's control.
Yep.
However, anywhere that is as difficult terrain as that is only ever nominally under anyone's control other than the people that live here, as the Swedes will attest, considering they've been trying to own Norway for quite a few centuries now.
Oh, even then, I'm not sure it's under their control
No,
either.
no. There are ways and means, there are groups as well as the people you met with that the sleeper authorities are working with as well. There's a fairly active resistance in Norway, and we've been doing what we can to supply them.
If you get me a map, I could get us through.
Well, this is the thing, I could maybe get you near, but then we'll need you to get, or other people to get through.
That's fine, I could get them through. I just need to know where I'm going.
Well, we can definitely pull in everything we can to get that for you. So, first job, Andrew has to get through today.
Aye.
Second job, assuming that works, there is one other person I think it would be worth you going to meet, which is one of the few remaining choristers we've got with any level of prime expertise. Mm-hmm. She's pretty much stationed at St. Paul's. She's called Rachel. She's the wife of the dean there. She effectively is in St. Paul's rather than on the continent. Rather than just like me, who's stuck here due to inability, she's stuck here because that's probably one of the largest nodes in the controlled world, and it needs to stay under our control.
Is that why it never gets hit?
Yes. That's why it never gets hit.
thought, yeah.
What, you thought Churchill was just into the architecture? St Paul's is a massive node where, at the moment, most of its power is being funneled out to other places to keep other protection circles running, trying to protect children and the next generation of apprentices in the hope they'll live long enough to be able to join us. So it's not got a huge battery, but it's definitely got some, and she might be able to give you some insight on your issues as well. She's a very solidly primed mage, but if nothing else, hopefully she can spare you as much juice as you might need. But she might be able to give you some insight into your issues, or possibly even why this Nefandi thinks that you're the solution to his problems.
Assuming that that's the right conclusion to leap to.
Yes. But that's what I mean. She's the best person to tell us if we should be or not be.
Okay.
I think. She's a little odd. I'll give her a call. I can tell you where the circle is. I mean, I'm sure, not that I think Garrett will lie to you at this point, but it never hurts to have independent corroboration. Nick is not going to be available to lift that crate up for lunchtime. Are you all right to do it? He'll look at you two as the more
I'm sure we can get a tool to lift up a crate.
Good, yeah. As long as some of you can sort it. Yeah, Nick is not going to be up at this hour. They can't walk in daylight. It's still the one thing we've got.
Where does Nick hang out then?
If I knew that, do you think he'd still be there?
Let's try.
He's it's a wartime truce, let us say. He doesn't want London to stop existing.
Sure.
And at the moment, that's aligning with our thoughts on the matter.
Yeah.
Alliance of convenience. And to be fair, he does keep the tunnels relatively safe of slightly less easily persuaded ones of his kind. So.
Shouldn't really be any of them, should there?
No.
Anyway.
But right now, resources are a little stretched.
I understand.
And the various
These
pogroms have never really worked. The Great Fire didn't work. Burning Rome didn't work. It's probably never going to work. They're like
Doesn't mean you don't stop
cockroaches.
trying.
Oh no, but they're like cockroaches or rats. It's no point trying to rid the city of his type. They'll just more or move in.
Sure.
Right.
To the devil you know.
Exactly.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yes, of course you can.
All of this is quite troubling.
It is, yes.
And I had quite a troubling dream, one which
Right.
I've not had before, and it felt slightly poignant for now.
Right.
Of a large tree in a dark landscape full of crows. I don't normally dream of crows. And a woman saying, "Are you ready? Are you ready to go?" So, I can't remember. And my foot really hurt.
Right, that's interesting.
I'm not really one for dream interpretation.
Well, there's a number of, depending from a normal perspective and from a non-normal
I can
perspective.
think of various Nordic interpretations, which is why I'm thinking, this tree, the life.
Well, as Harris
tree,
says, yeah, well, you're
crows
just
and
sailors where we all are,
ravens
isn't it?
and
Mentally, probably.
Norway. This all seems to be
It's that kind
a
of symbolism,
monochromatic
but
landscape. That's what I saw. That's Norway. I imagine. I've never been there, but
You were there in
imagine
spring.
it's
it was
snow and
quite nice.
mountains.
Yeah,
Snow or mountains.
that
Sounds like home.
Could be
There's
Canada then.
Harry says, I've never been to
Did I get
Canada.
a sense
Doubt
that
I
it was,
will now.
that it was monochromatic because the land itself was just grey, or was it like a black and white filter over the top?
Over your
get the-
perception.
Yeah.
Is it like a film? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely more than one would just expect from a slightly dark and dreary landscape.
Okay.
But it could be an interpretation of the landscape,
Okay.
if you
Right,
like.
Gotcha.
It's certainly not just you were seeing it in cine film.
Yeah,
it's,
sure.
It's
No, I just
more,
thought that.
yeah,
Just wanted
it's
to.
yeah. No, it is.
from my own head.
Yeah, it's darker than it had any reason
Okay.
being.
Yeah. He's really boring. He dreams of like numbers and things. So he doesn't ever dream of like crows and women in strange hoods. Yeah, there's a woman in a very deep hood. She may have had green skin. I'm not sure. But you can open that can.
Never.
You can.
Anyway, I just say that just in case anyone sees anything, or I don't know.
If I see any crows, you'll be the first person I tell.
Being a mind mage, I know that messages can be put into people's dreams.
Yes.
I've done it myself, and it's happened to me before, and I don't want it to happen again.
it's it's certainly something to pay attention to, but I don't have any insight to give you.
I mean, you hang out with the Scandinavians, so you just sell the
Yeah.
tree, crows.
It's sort of familiar symbology, but
Yeah.
I don't
But
really...
it could have one of a dozen meanings.
Looking
is the
down my
trouble.
couch sheet,
They were like
I think there's
runes?
0.
When they're-
Zero.
What were the runes?
There was a rune.
There was a rune to do with
Endings, yeah.
yeah,
But it was a
But it was a Nordic rune.
Nordic rune.
Nordic.
So there's a rune in your dream.
No, but it was a very Nordic
Oh, yeah.
feel to this thing.
Yeah.
And when there's Norway, there's Nordic runes.
There's a Nordic
I'm not-
rune on the puzzle.
I'm not
book.
Scandinavian.
Hmm.
I'm very boring Englishman.
Yes, so there is a link, but until we have anything more
no,
to
I
go
just
on,
thought I
we-
would let
Harry-
you know.
Harry
Let you know in
says-
case anything strange happens to me, or I start acting strangely around trees or crows or women with big hoods.
Okay.
It could be a vision. It could be just a normal dream. Though. I mean, all
I've
those
never
elements.
had any kind of. It was very powerful. It was like unlike any other kind of dream I've had.
Harry says,
Well,
my understanding
one of the
is the book. Yes, those of you not in the Order of Hermes, we are boring like this. We try to keep track of avatars.
Yeah.
My understanding is we didn't find any additional hermetic incarnations of yours. I mean, they didn't of mine either. That's relatively normal. So it's not even like we could go and see if you had any previous connection to those areas, is it?
No. But anyway, I thought I would let you know because
It's worth letting people know. In general, one thing I would definitely say is if you were disturbed or concerned that anything might be infiltrating on a mind magic level, is to make sure your colleagues are aware of it immediately.
I only say it because I've done it to other people in the past.
Exactly. And that would conceivably be within Gilbert's skill set as well.
Yes. Anyway, sorry to put a somber, even more
Somber than we already were. So,
Yes.
if I can leave it in your hands to get Garrett through the encounter late this morning,
Yes.
I will start seeing what we can do in Norwegian terms. I mean, the most logical thing to do is, as I said, we are trying to supply the resistance just on a sleeper level. Bullets, blankets, that kind of thing. So we're not going to be able to neatly drop you into a hydrogen-3 plant, but we could hopefully get you in the vicinity. If that is what you all wanted to do, though Abe's concerns are well taken as well, that fieldwork
Yes.
isn't necessarily all of your strong
I
points.
look down at my phone.
I'm going to pull out a notepad and start scribbling down some things we'll need.
Right, marvellous, let me know.
I'm not sure skis would be great for me.
Speaking
Did
of,
you have one big ski that I could put both my feet on?
We're not inventing snowboarding. Just not. No.
Speaking of bullets,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I've got it, he says. So, I was going to leave it in
We might
Warwick,
need it.
but we might need it, yes, I agree. It's
I think that
it's under lock and key here in London.
Sorry, I don't know who's the best marksman out of the two of you.
I don't know.
Hey, I don't like being discounted. I might be wonderful on the side.
Harry says, he's not. I've read his evaluation. He's not.
They let me shoot a gun once, but I almost hurt someone.
Yes, exactly. Yourself, mostly.
I have passable skill, but only really in a pinch.
Harry says, and I,
Mostly at close range.
unfortunately, was left-handed. So my marksman abilities, I've learned to write with the other hand. Shooting with the other one turned out to be somewhat more difficult. But yes, you two can sort that out among yourself. I strongly suspect you just work on who's still alive and in the best
think we
position if you
keep
get
it-
anywhere near
I
him.
think we keep it in a gun for that purpose, and whoever's
We need to put it in a magazine, don't we?
Nearest and still alive.
exactly, basically, whoever's in the best position.
And you've got
We can find magazines and we can find guns.
I have a revolver and a
We can
rifle.
find guns. It's not a problem.
Yeah. I was thinking actually having it ready in a gun so we can just toss it to whoever's in a
Yeah,
good position to take the shot. But
magically toss.
We can work out the finer details of that later.
Harry says the chances of this plan getting to that point are so infinitesimally small that I think we should just assume we'll have guns.
prepare for
Yes,
it,
we
anyone
should.
to do.
But I can find you guns, I can find you magazines. Those are not the problems.
I'm not worried about the actual gun itself. I'm more worried about making sure that the two people who are best skilled with firearms are aware.
And at least on the same plan. That would be
Yes,
nice,
yeah.
I concur. Right, so take yourself to either Old Witch Tunnels or St Paul's in whatever order you feel you need, depending on how much persuasion you think Garrett needs. And I will meet you for, say, dinner? And hopefully we'll have a more consolidated plan by then. Might have a nap, potentially.
How soon are we likely to leave, if it happens?
What timescale have we got? We had we had a countdown.
We
on
need
the-
to-
Yeah, but
we have a
need
countdown.
To be swift.
We need to go.
It was a few weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's for the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's
I
best
just
if
wondered
we...
when is he going to be turning up? And
We suspected soon, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's still sort of 10 days or so on the countdown.
Yeah, but that doesn't leave much. You don't leave it. You don't leave it till the last day.
He won't get there at 10 days.
No.
Or 9 minus 23, will he? He'll get there.
He'll
Well,
be there
we
a
don't know.
week. He'll be there a week
Well-
before. He'll be figuring things out. Messing about
That's what
things.
Garrett needs to... That might be
That's
the information Garrett can get.
That's a very good idea.
We need to know when they're moving, because there's no point turning up there before he does.
Yeah.
You're just... I say, when we say the apprentice, we're all assuming this is a mage of any moderate power. It could be anything under a master.
Did I
Yes.
did I figure out whether there were?
I generally assume most mages are more powerful than me.
Generally speaking, overestimating everyone around you is a good plan, to be honest.
Yeah.
That keeps
Did it-
people alive.
Did I ever figure out whether that from the drawing of that circle, whether it would be a pair or more, potentially more locations than
I think you said multiple locations was the end verdict.
Yeah.
But it would need to be drawn exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
It is not... It has no room for error, that thing.
Yeah.
Abe's looking at his
So if we
notes.
can get him somewhere by lunchtime tomorrow and draw another circle.
His master would probably know that he'd drawn another circle,
Yeah, probably.
but that isn't necessarily the end of the world if he says that, oh, I'm pretty sure that the previous circle got spotted, so I scrubbed it and...
Because he was told how to do it.
Yes,
yeah,
he's,
so I
he
scrubbed it
was
and made
carrying
another one.
designs for it.
Absolutely.
So he should be able to make another one, and it wouldn't be the end of it. It wouldn't be too...
Unless it was like halfway to Norway.
Yeah, we have to assume that the master is
But
going to
that's
know
an
where
option.
it is.
But that's an option, just in case we think.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, I've...
If we reckon we can trust the Euthanatos, I wouldn't object to having the Euthanatos pointing a gun at our enemies. They're rather...
It's just whether we can trust that what was done to
He's
him,
also
be
not-
it mundane or
You
magical.
can't trust him to that.
Yeah.
But he's also not in the best physical condition.
No, that's
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, the result... Yeah, the thing from Pete St. Paul says he's got pneumonia as well. So that's just going to add to our
Yeah, I'm
issue.
not
I
sure.
remember recuperating, and sorry, Harry, I know mine is nowhere near as bad as yours, but it's a tremendous toll on you, not just physically.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be making any intercontinental trips anytime
Okay.
soon.
Fine.
But either go deal with him or deal with Rachel. I don't mind what order you do it in. We'll be back here for 6 sharp, and then I'll have a plan. The flights do not predictably go every day to Norway, but they go at least once a week. Take Garrett, find me a timescale, and we will see what we can do.
Very well.
Who should I give a list of requirements to?
Me, if you've got them ready now. If not, any one of the girls in the office.
He's
If you think of anything else, any of the girls in the office will get it sorted.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, last estimate of the countdown time was about 29 days, but it's rough. It could be off by a week.
Yeah.
It might help now we've got another device with the same countdown going on.
We should-
and it zones in as we go along. It's just we haven't had it long enough to really know what its total is. You know? You've got to know what number.
We should
it's
assume the
not
worst
number.
case scenario.
Mhm.
So
What's worse?
plus or minus 7 days? Minus 7 days.
Still 22 days.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave it till the last day to turn up.
No.
And
That's also
as Harry
when-
says, we don't know if that's 22 days from when he walks out of there in triumph with his artifact in his hand.
Or 22
Or
days
22
until they
days
set
till
them
the-
off.
We, like I said, we only have a countdown.
Exactly.
And that he's going for an artifact and it's got a timetable, but we don't know what the countdown's for.
But
Sure.
as I said, I think our only way of easily finding out is Garrett.
Absolutely, we're
Mhm.
100% on that.
I leave that in your hands, gentlemen.
Ron, quick question. When we go to Norway, are you the life? Do you know the life magic? Well,
I know some.
this is my leg. I'm just worried about my leg. I might be a hindrance. I might be a hindrance to you. So I'm just thinking if there's a way that we could shore me up slightly for a journey, even if it does take a bit of a. I might just have to block the pain out.
Again, it might be worth talking to Rachel. If they can find you enough juice, you can do a lot. Or he can do a lot.
Sure. Okay. Let's go and...
Some of the knives in Norway are verbena as well. They're just short of everything.
Yes. I'm not volunteering
No,
them to do
no,
anything
exactly,
at the moment.
no.
I don't even know how many of them are going to be alive.
They're still alive when you get there. No.
Oh, good guys when we get there.
That's it.
Yeah.
Although I think if I understand it correctly, the calls doesn't leave you alive.
Oh, really?
It kind of
Inverts you.
it turns you inside out.
Yeah.
in a few different ways.
But again,
That's
it's
one of them.
but again, in Mage sense, what really counts as alive? That's a very
There is also
very
that.
broad. In the world of darkness, it's
spectrum.
even
It's a
broader.
spectrum.
What is alive? It's a
So, yeah. Anyway,
yes.
my character
Anyway,
doesn't know that because the only thing he really knows about Nefandi is they're bad, and you do not
yes.
Yeah.
do
Very
not make
bad.
friends with Nefandi.
Yeah.
Also
Don't
go.
talk to Nefandi.
Also go via
That's
the.
what you're treating.
Yeah.
Also go via the mess if you've not eaten, because no one makes good decisions on empty stomachs.
Excellent. An army marches on its stomach.
Which, frankly, always sounded painful. Go eat. Bring back some good news.
Very well. Breakfast it is.
I think we should probably go and talk to Andrew first, and then see where we go from
That's the
there.
most pressing matter.
It's the one with more of a time limit.
And then we can see if we have time to go and talk to the chorister.
We should do, because
Oh, we should
we've
do.
then
But if
got
he
another
says
6 hours.
it's tomorrow,
Well, yes.
then we have to run.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So
Go to
are
the
you going?
hospital.
You going via the mess possibly to pick up
Yeah, yeah.
something to eat?
Do they have any bacon?
Yes.
Excellent.
They also have not bacon.
Do they
None
have
of
any
it's
maple syrup.
none of it's got maple syrup on it.
Outrage! Oh man, that would be awesome though.
What-
Because if we could discover maple syrup on bacon.
What's maple syrup?
You will get a 10-minute lecture on the wonders that are maple syrup.
Sounds like olive oil.
What's olive oil?
Um,
I'm not sure you'd see much of that in World War II
That's
London.
No.
Whitehall mess?
were the Popeye cartoons around at this sort of time? Must quite a bit of olive oil. I want to give a call to Cranfield to see if Jacob's come up with anything.
Right, you give a call to Cranfield that goes via the Cranfield switch. It eventually goes via Jakob.
Well, we're still at Whitehall because I said I'd be
Yeah.
here.
What?
Have you found anything with a gun yet?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
Cool.
On in what way?
Sorry.
What's it doing? Is it a gun that shoots things? We weren't sure if it was actually like a weapon.
Well, I pulled the trigger and nothing happened that I could see.
Right. Can you see into other dimensions or
Not well.
at all?
It's gone kind of silver sparkly when the stuff comes out, whatever comes out at the end.
So something comes out at the end?
Yeah, like a little bit of silver sparkles, but I can't see where anything goes.
What, like
no.
a glue gun or...
No, like
Bubble gun.
no, like
Confetti cannon.
A glitter gun.
We just
Glitter
have...
gun.
glitter gun. Thankfully, do not exist in World. Like
The Nazis would
like
have
grains of
those.
sand, you know, like grains of sand come out the end.
Right, are they resistant to magic?
Not especially.
Well, work out what they are.
Yes, that's very helpful of you. It's on. It's doing something. It's the other thing is it's charging. I didn't put any.
From what?
Other dimension is best guess. I didn't put anything in it. Did you put anything in it?
You're the other dimensional expert, so can't you have
Yeah, but
it in the lab?
all right, fine. I'll actually do it. Okay, fine. I'll actually look at it. Right, fine.
Okay.
So
Right.
he hasn't done anything.
You pulled the trigger.
He did.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what he did. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not there. I'm not there.
I was going to say, in half an hour.
I'll go and look more properly.
Right, so I should be at St Paul's
hang
and
out.
St Peter's, and then I should be out of contact for a little while, and then I'll be at St Paul's Cathedral. If anything urgent comes up, I'll probably give you a call later.
Simples.
They've probably got a phone at this point, haven't they, surely?
Yes, boss.
Alright. Be careful with it, just in case it is shooting, like, random extra-dimensional entities. They might turn up and be annoyed.
Right, okay. That is a valid point.
Accidentally shoot some passing werewolf.
Hunt through the umbrella, some notices.
and you come back and he's just a smear across the workshop. A couple of little clods of fur.
On the plus side, it's kind of hard to step sideways when you're frenzy.
There's loads of reflective things in the lab, though.
Yeah, but gnosis rolls, you can't make gnosis rolls and rage at the same time. So. Anyway,
aside from
Who stepped sideways?
Colin and Adam's semi-encyclopedic knowledge of Werewolf the Apocalypse. Right, so, you eat. Are you going to hospital? What was on the list? What was on the list you gave Harry, by the way?
It was a list of survival gear, certain kinds of
£45 per man of survival gear.
It's probably quite a lot, but basically it's a lot of winter survival gear, like maps,
It's July.
compasses.
I know it's
Is it
Norway,
July?
but it's
Okay.
July.
It's July.
A lot of survival gear.
Yeah.
Tundra camo rather than snow camo.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, basically like camouflage fatigues for the people that don't
D-Day
have them.
was like a week ago or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So
Certain kinds of weaponry, conventional stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
Ron
fine.
knows.
Yep,
But
that
it's
sounds
basically
reasonable.
a list of gear.
10-foot pole.
I was going to say, because he's just saying yes, and I realised I don't
Sorry,
actually know what you put on it.
11-foot
But
Maple syrup on the list twice down the line.
10-foot ladder.
Yeah.
Then you get 2 poles and firewood.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's
I
all
like
conventional gear that would be available to the armed forces.
Right. That's, yes, in which case he will say that's fine. Right, so are you going to St Peter's and St Paul's?
yes.
Yes.
And then simple.
Yeah.
Yes.
And balls and balls.
That is unfortunate, but we can only work with what the world
It's
gives
London.
us. It's London. We ran out of saints.
London.
Who knows? Right, you go to the hospital. You are ushered back in where you were the previous night, into the room where they've set up Andrew Garrett. His doctor has come to meet you before you go in and says, well, he's passed quite a good night. He does have pneumonia, however. We've started him on some extra penicillin. He was already on some. We've started him on some more. And trying to get some fluids into him. He's in a better position than he was this time yesterday, but he's still not a well man.
How movable is he?
In an ideal world or a necessary world?
Unnecessary.
As long as he doesn't run or jump off of anything, he'll probably be all right. And as long as we have him back here for his next set of antibiotics, which are in about 6 hours.
Can I walk up and have a good look at him?
He's met you outside, but you can start to peer through the door if you want, or just ignore the doctor and walk in if you want. He won't.
Just gonna walk in.
Okay, he's awake, but he's still very much sort of snuggled under his blankets. There is a nurse in the room who looks like she's just finished doing his blood pressure.
Okay, I'm going to start examining him in a way that I think a doctor would.
So your character has medicine. We have... Does he, or...?
In a way, I think a doctor would.
Yes, I have a dot of medicine.
Marvellous, then. Are you actually trying to find out medical things, or are
I'm
you just...
basically trying to... I'm going to see if I can make him a bit better with magic.
Okay,
But I'm basically trying to look like I'm not using anything
With
magical.
magic.
right, so what you could do is make a sort of intelligence and medical roll to sort of come up with some sort of mundane scientific insights, which you can then use.
Diagnosis.
Oh, that's not bad. I'm
So
assuming-
difficulty 6.
So 2.
2? Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. If you start looking over him, he's barely still running a bit of a temperature. He does have this cough, which when you think about it, was there last night, but it was so far down the list of things you were worried about at the time,
Yeah,
it didn't really
mainly
come
the
out.
leg.
Yeah. The leg looks good. It looks pink. It looks like there's blood running to it properly. It looks good. In general, though, as I said, obviously also someone has come in and helped him get properly washed and everything as well. And you can see that he's covered in sort of old injuries and little scarred bits and stuff like that, which makes things more difficult. But no, he looks all right. The penicillin's clearly helped. He's still running a fever, which is the main worry in
So,
sort of mid-20th century.
so do I think I can do anything about that magic?
Yes, you can definitely do something about that magically, yeah.
Okay, and can I?
Roll.
Well,
your
we shall
arrow.
roll your arrotate and see if you can. So you're trying to
Probably
make
not.
him better. So that is a life 3 effect, which you have. So it's the highest.
Oh no, I've got life 1.
He's got forces 3.
Yeah.
Life
So
one
you,
is not
you can't make him better.
The Healy forces.
But you could use life to see where the issues are and to direct things more in that general direction if you want. So just roll your arate for life 1, then that's better difficulty is only 4.
3.
Yeah, so, you can see the main problem. So it's almost, however your character thinks that he perceives magic and things, whether it's just, particularly when he's looking over someone injured, maybe it just, the worst ones become more obvious, or...
Yeah, he just kind of sees it through... He perceives it through natural things. So rather than him seeing, like, swirly magic, he just kind of, like, almost looks into the blood, kind of.
Does he get the buttercup out and show it under his chin?
No.
Oh, he likes butter.
But like he checks their pulse and...
Yeah, and sees the way the muscles move,
But yeah,
and the way the skin's
he almost
lying.
kind of gets, like, a sense of the things.
So the leg is actually not that bad in the great scheme of things. You didn't break anything load-bearing, and it's been stitched up and cleaned out pretty well by the hospital guys. In general, there is a malaise and weakness to him that you can pick up from that, which is probably just poor physical condition and running a temperature. But you can almost see, like on his left middle of his chest, that there's some sort of issue there, which is probably this pneumonia the doctor's talking about. You can almost perceive, that the skin isn't quite right and the blood doesn't flow right around it.
Alright, but I can't really do anything
You can't
about
really
it.
fix it, but you can definitely find it, which is quite helpful, though, But, we don't have CT imaging. These people most to know that this is where the problem is.
Okay, so... But I'm assuming the doctors have already identified all of that.
The doctors have identified he's got pneumonia.
But they don't know where.
No, and they probably are still worrying about his leg rather more than they possibly should be from your assessment.
Okay, so the doctor's outside, but the nurse is inside. Okay. The problem's there.
You just sit forward for me, sir. She's got a stethoscope out, and she takes. Yeah, I'll tell the doctor. There are reduced breath sounds there. I'll tell the doctor.
I think that's where his pneumonia's really set in.
It could be. I'll tell the doctor. Pretty good picking it up with that stethoscope.
I've got some medical training.
Okay.
Guy. I'm not going to go there.
Don't do that.
She's smiling at you. She doesn't see many people that aren't sick, so she's quite happy with this. Right, the doctor's going to let the rest of you in probably at this point. He'll say, he's not well, but no, you can take him out, but
Bring him back.
have him back by 2 because he needs his next set of antibiotics.
So how do you administer the penicillin?
Oh, we're doing it intravenously.
Oh.
Good veins, actually.
Tell old Nick. Good veins.
Quite live up to my nature.
Yes, you did. If you are lacking any willpower, you can get it back. Right, if you go in, Garrett definitely looks a better colour than last night. He looks less pale and less drawn. He's obviously been woken up quite early because it's a hospital, so he probably got woken up to have his observations done. But he is very looks pretty happy and content in his blankets at the minute. And someone has brought him some toast as well.
Okay.
Which he is currently eating.
Marmite on the toast?
You don't want to give ill people Marmite.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, you do. Marmite cures all.
It doesn't.
For those of you not from the UK, Marmite is delicious.
It is awesome.
Marmite is like some sort of weird yeasty
You've ever seen the
health spawn.
film about... I can't remember the title. The Yeast
No.
Lords. Have you ever seen the Yeast Lords? Yeah. It's like a yeast extract. It's like a thick,
we described-
black tar-like semi-liquid.
It sounds
spread on toast.
awful.
It sounds disgusting, but you
Yes,
eat it.
because it is
And it's
disgusting.
wonderful.
Put that on buttered toast.
And also the whole
Amazing.
marketing gimmick of it is that you either hate it or love it.
But that's arguably a successful marketing gimmick because it is a pretty divisive topic in the UK and have
But
been
Marmite
for a
is
lot
like
of years.
British.
And don't even get us started on
It's got
Vegemite, that's
the-
completely
No,
different.
it's-
No, that's like foreign and Australian.
Vegemite. It's like a bad version of Vegemite, is what I was going to say. Marmite's like.
Oh,
Whoa. Out of the studio.
Whereas,
Yeah.
Neither of them are great.
You're
But
Greg Gillar. Anyway.
whereas I kind of don't think that fermented yeast extract needs to exist, so that's my bottom line on the whole
It's very good
subject.
for you.
Is it?
It is good for you.
yeah, actually.
Checking
Yeah,
what
actually, it's
time
good for
we're
you.
at.
It's got iron and vitamins and B12 and all that kind of stuff that you
And
need.
tastes like someone tastes like sucking
Ambrosia.
on a nail.
like if
Anyway,
sorry.
aside from Marmite,
We're clearly the Marmite side of the table.
Apparently that division has a...
yes.
That's how we split players in every game of Marmite games. Marmite side, non-Marmite side.
Yes.
Garrett is slightly evil. He might like Marmite. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah. All right, he can like
He's eating Marmite on toast.
He can have Marmite, right?
Isn't the Thanatos? They're all forced to like Marmite.
That's true. That probably sounds legit. Yeah. Okay, so he's eating Marmite on toast.
I have to put a picture of it on the Facebook page,
Yes.
just so American people know what that is.
What we're actually talking
And other
about.
countries, our South American friends who watch as well.
Probably also don't have Marmite. Lucky bastards. Anyway.
No, next session will just be piles of Marmite.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The big tub.
Anyway, enough Marmites. Game.
Sorry.
All right, Garrett, good morning. How you feeling?
All right. Thank you. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look better.
Yeah. He gestures at what would be a glass strip at that point, so a
Yeah.
glass bottle.
How is it nearly done?
Looks nearly done, yeah.
Cool.
There's only a little bit left. I mean, whether Frantham has any experience with how quick those things go, but it looks nearly empty, so,
Okay.
if it was a drink, yeah, virtually done.
That last sip of the beer.
Yeah, no, better, I think. So they've been running this almost continuously. I think that's probably helping. I feel a bit better. So they say apparently I've not got a cough, I've got pneumonia. Which I think I caught off that weird technocrat guy in the cellar, but it's fine.
But he didn't have pneumonia.
Yeah, but he had all sorts of other things. Anyway, I feel better.
Yeah? You think you're up for
A short jaunt.
Well, I've got to be if we all want to still be, if I still want Elsa to be alive as lunchtime. Yeah, I've got to.
Yes. So we thought we'd escort you.
Yeah. All right, let's do this once more then.
We also had thought about, if there's a bit of a conversation, we know there's a bit of a time limit at the moment. And we've got this kind of countdown that we're aware of.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't given the specifics of it.
However,
But,
if anyone's
yeah.
moving, or there's any way of you finding out if you need to change the runes on the circle to communicate to a different location anytime soon.
So you want me to kind of try and drop into the conversation when they're going to Norway?
Possibly. Or, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I also might try and enter your mind while you're communicating.
Be careful. Because if he sees you, we're probably both toast.
Yeah, maybe
He bites his Marmite.
As much as you can find out,
Yeah,
the
I
more you
wouldn't.
find out, the more we can help your sister.
I know. He's so strong.
I might just monitor your mind there.
Okay.
Is there any... I look at the nurse. Is there any more of that toast?
Yes. Yep, okay, I can get you some toast. She comes back with toast and Marmite, because why not?
I will take a slice, curiously going,
This
What
is
the-
the stuff.
try.
What is it?
I just
Don't wanna-
He
It's
probably-
not maple
He
syrup.
probably spends a good minute just staring.
super dense maple syrup.
Yeah, and when you hold it upside down, it doesn't move. It doesn't come off really. It's very
It looks toxic, but it isn't.
apparently.
He likes it.
Yeah, it looks
Say odds because it's a bit odd. He likes it.
Fair enough.
yes, it is apparently non-toxic as far as the mages in the room can determine.
So we need to get you ready,
Yes,
and
I don't know what he knows. I know some basics of mind magic, but it's not even like that's how he's working. Maybe he just reads people well. I don't know, but it's like he always knows more than I'm giving away. I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to wing it.
Can we make the connection bad?
Possibly, yeah. Don't know how, but there's certainly been places it's been clearer to talk to one another and communicate. Other correspondence stuff going, maybe?
I was going to say, who's got any knowledge of the correspondence?
tiny.
A small amount, but not enough to interfere without risk of being.
No. The only thing I could interfere with is like the mental connection.
Maybe you could help.
What about bad weather?
I don't.
Poor visibility.
We're going to be in a sewer.
Sewers can have steam.
Is it what kind of
Actually,
connection is it?
joking
Is it
at-
a mental one, or is it? Is he?
No, that wasn't a joke.
Does he appear like in front of you?
No, but I can hear him. Again, this is one of
Like,
those.
in the room.
I don't know if you're going to be able to hear him. How I process it is that I can directly hear him, though, as if he's talking in front of me, but there's nothing visual there.
Sure. Like he's
So if...
sending his voice.
Yeah, so that is a forces thing. So, yeah, joking aside about whether forces stuff could interfere with it, yeah.
Do you reckon he's seeing you, or
I don't think so, no. I don't
So
think
it's
you
just
can
an
see
audio?
It's
me.
an audio.
It's just audio,
I may be able to help.
We're still gonna have to hide out of view of the room,
just in case.
just in case.
Agree.
But it's like, well, you'll see when we get down there. It's a bit of the old Bagaletzers, the old Victorian ones. But it's like a dry section, but there's lots of little branch offs from it. So Roger would really like to open a can now. So we're gonna have a
Short,
pour.
sharp noise.
You know, Memento.
anything?
Marvelous.
Secondary bit actually is probably.
The noisy bit. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't get in line of sight in case he can.
Mm-hmm.
Sure,
But there's
sure.
lots of little side passages. That shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have to be next to the circle to make it work? do you?
I have to be in the circle to hear him,
Right. Okay.
and for him to hear me.
How long did it take you to make that?
A while, because I wanted to get it just right.
10 hours?
No,
5 hours?
hour and a half.
Hour and a half, okay. Just thinking in case, just as an option, moving the location that you're...
I mean, he was really precise about.
Well, he's an emetic, isn't he? So his mythology would be the same as yours. So you might look at the circle and be able to work out a way of making it not work quite as well.
Can I have the designs again? Who's got the...
They're probably in with his effects, unless
Okay.
any of you guys took
Well, I
them.
can have a look at them and see if there's any way that I think we could
Which are in a bag.
tweak it
by his
slightly to make it crackly or something.
Yeah,
Bad
exactly.
radio, you know.
Yeah, that's what we want.
When you've got the, you know. Can I do some sort of...
Right. So yeah, this will probably be a cult. So both intelligence and occult, probably, or perception and occult. I'd possibly.
thorough and
allow.
analytical.
Yeah.
So either of those, I'm
Either of
for.
those, yep.
I'll borrow a few of the dice.
Because we haven't actually rolled any dice, and we probably should, because it's nominally a role-playing game.
I did.
That's okay.
Oh, that's a good point. You did.
You rolled a dice to figure out whether you liked Marmite.
No, he
I know,
also
I know,
rolled.
also
He
to do
also
some
rolled
magic.
from life.
I did medicine and magic.
You did.
Difficulty...
Difficult 6. It's not.
And because I have a specialty, how does that work again?
Roll up
Tens
10.
can explode.
10s explode.
Boom!
Not
And that's
lit.
roll again, or they just
Roll
count as
again.
2? Yep.
Yeah.
What was it?
6.
2.
This
That's
happens. This happens.
Yeah.
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 Right, okay.
I know.
It's a personalised variant on actually not that uncommon a hermetic symbol. He's obviously changed some bits because all hermetics change bits for their own
style,
signature,
yeah.
but also some of it's just a little bit deliberately inverted for obvious reasons,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
It's all written backwards.
He's a bad boy.
Well, they're upside down, effectively. Mirror images, I suppose, actually. Yes, mirror image things of what you're actually looking at. However, it's a common hermetic thing. I mean,
Could I scrape a thing and it's not quite as good, or would that just...
No, you could scrape a few bits to make it not quite as good rather than break it. You can see how you could break
That's
it
what I
as
was-
well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But you could certainly shape it. It's whether he will react badly to what he will perceive as Garrett having done it badly or keeping it untidily.
You just
you
say
don't
that
know.
There's been people down in the in the tunnels when the rays are going off.
Yeah, you
Or
could.
rats.
Or rats, or there's some strange weirdo down
I mean, some of
here
it's been done in
that's
blood,
running around.
so,
Yeah,
rats
dries.
is certainly not impossible.
Okay. Yeah, I think I could interfere with it just enough to like make it not work as well, but not break it.
Well,
I could break it if you want me to break it as well, but I know we don't want
I
to do
think that will end badly.
Yes.
With Garrett.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully that'll make him hard to read you. So if he can't see you quite as well or hear you quite
All
well,
right.
whatever he's doing.
Right, okay then.
And how would forces be applied to assist?
distort the voice, add some more echoes.
Make him sound more like he's telling the truth.
Make him harder to hear.
There's some evidence that lower pitch might do that.
Muffling, he says. So scary. Okay, so.
Well, although if we distort it and muffle it, that might.
So let me. Yeah, it just becomes. Yeah, let's see how the sigil altering
It's like
goes.
we're announcing trains.
Yeah. Garrett says, "All right, well, let me find somebody to come and take the needle out, and then."
I'll go look for her. Flag down a nurse.
No, it's strange.
I'm not going to do that.
Flag down a nurse.
Find nurse or the
to-
doctor, and they'll come
Bloody
in.
needle.
And they'll come and pull it out. Yes, we are somewhere off reusable cannulas. Like 40 years. Right, yes.
And it's 3 months.
Yeah. Love it. Cool.
Right.
Okay. We'll prep him. We'll get him ready.
Right, he
Wrapped up
goes
nice
and
warm,
he gets dressed.
You know.
Yeah, and you. Even though it's been a warm summer, but he's still feeling the cold. So he didn't have a decent coat on when you lot
Can
saw
we get
him.
that car that we had before? Didn't we have a driver?
You could probably arrange for a car, yeah.
Cool.
I think we should do that. Take us down there.
Yeah.
I'll go and make a phone call, and I'll call back to Whitehall to arrange for it.
Yeah,
For a
that can be done.
While I'm gone, I'm going to play with my watch again. For no real reason. I just like,
To see
when I'm
what
on
it
my
does.
own, every now and then I turn the hands back, I do things, I wind it up, I turn it different angles, trying different
Right now it's not doing anything.
Sure.
As you're coming away from using the phone, one of the people that mans the sort of, I suppose it's almost sort of got its own mini little exchange, says, excuse me, sir, are you with Mr. Cohen?
I am. Who's...
I have a
Cool.
call from Mr. Cohen from Cranfield.
I will... well, I would run and fetch him, but you're probably better
Oh,
off doing
but
that
he's
than
with-
me.
yeah.
He's through there.
I'll send someone right. Someone comes back ahead of you, can see Jeremy limping
I'm
down the
coming
corridor
through.
behind him, Adam. Mr. Cohen, there's a phone call for you from Cranfield.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, well, chap, sounds a bit urgent.
Okay, that's worrying. I shall head to phone quickly.
Right. The guy you know on the other end is Hugh LaVenture. He's a pilot.
Okay, who?
Hugh LaVenture.
Okay.
He's a pilot. Nice guy. You've met him a few times.
That's a cool name.
Hello. Oh, Abe, is that you?
Yep, yeah, it's me. Just
Oh, right, it's you.
Middle London.
Yeah, okay. So I came up to remember we talked about that thing with the compass the other week? You were gonna have a look at it for me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I came up and I think Jakob's hurt himself with something. He's all right. I've taken him to the infirmary. He's hurt his arm, I think, somehow. It looked like a burn almost.
Right.
And there was this funny looking toy gun on the floor.
Yeah.
But the lab guy said not to touch it, so we just kind of put a blanket over it and taken Jakob to the infirmary. But I thought I should ring you.
No, thanks for letting me know. So, what's happened?
He tried to do something with it, he said, but he
Right.
was yelling a lot and swearing a lot, and he wasn't doing much of it in English.
Is he
And
seriously hurt, or...?
no. He's burnt his arm. It's quite nasty, but not like in-service burns type stuff.
Uh-huh.
Not like you see some of those lads come in. It'll be all right. I
There
think.
wasn't anything smoking, or there wasn't any
No.
weird smells in there, or...?
Yeah, funny smell, a little bit slightly aniseedy. You know, like Pernod or something like that. My
Yeah.
dad used to drink it. Can't stand stuff.
Okay.
And as I said, this toy gun was on the floor, but I just covered it over because. But yeah, he's all right. He's just yelling a lot. He'll be fine.
Right.
You know what the doctor says. The ones that are yelling are the ones you want to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
a character point here. Is Abe actually writing this down as you're writing it down?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, just making sure.
Phone
that,
number
it's
on
like,
it.
oh, okay. Brilliant.
Nice.
Brilliant. I love it.
So shall I just leave it?
Probably not, no.
There's something, a noise that sounds like someone, for instance, poking the edge of a blanket with their foot.
That's a pretty subtle noise.
Are you,
Is it?
are you in the lab now?
Yeah.
Okay, we've taken the blanket off.
Okay.
Is there any, like... substance coming out of it? Is there anything eaten away anywhere? Or?
No. It looks all right. There's a little light on the top.
Right.
Kind of white.
And nowhere near where he was working or benches, you can't see anything sort of eaten away, like has been acid or anything else corrosive.
No, can't see anything. So there's a slightly aniseedy smell and a little bit of burning hair, but, Jakob's not, he's a little bit on the hirsute side.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'm getting a great mental picture of this guy.
He was supposed to be a problem, effectively.
Right. Okay, well, there should be...
There's like a triggery type bit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch that.
Yeah. There should be, if you look around, there should be like a thick metal box.
Yep. The one that's screwed to the floor, yeah?
Yeah. Put it in that and then like close and lock the lid properly.
Do I pick it up with my hands?
Use a cloth and grip at the handle. You should
Or
be
the
right.
blanket?
Yeah, whatever you threw over it.
Okay.
I'm standing in the doorway listening to Abe on the other end of the phone.
Okay, right. There's a clunk and
I
then a
assume it's
click.
not like super hot or anything.
No. It's
Otherwise it would have burned the blanket.
Yeah, no. Oh, okay, it's in the box.
Okay.
Blanket.
You close it, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, it should be safe. Make sure Jakob goes and deals with it or gives me a call as soon as he can, yeah?
Alright, I'll go to the infirmary and see how they're getting on.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know.
Okay.
Everything okay?
Bye. Yeah, the gun was doing something and Jakob hurt himself with it.
The gun.
The ray gun thing that
the
Flash Gordon style thing.
on your desk on the bench.
Doing nothing and just woke up this morning, but we were in a hurry to go this morning, so I didn't have time to look at it. And Jakob said that, wow, he can be turf at the best of times.
It woke up.
Well, it just started doing it. It was powering up from somewhere, and it started doing things. It reacted in any fashion. It appeared to have energy running through it, but I didn't have time to look at it, so I couldn't really say more than that, other than it had power in it. And so I told Jakob to look at it, and he did so in his unique way. and he's
I'm
burnt,
just going to be like...
and he's burnt himself.
Okay, fine, let's get Garrett
I'm a bit concerned that there doesn't
the,
seem to be any way of him burning himself, but yeah. I suspect that it's an extra dimensional gun because it looks like it's a void engineer item, so it's probably for shooting things on the other side of what you'd call the gauntlet in the Umbra.
The kind of misty, cloudy place.
Yeah. So what he can do, I think he has the ability to form a hole to there, or at least put portions of himself through. So I suspect he probably shot himself in the arm through it by trying to do something along those sort of lines.
That sounds...
Jakob can put portions of himself through to the Umbra.
Yeah, he's not quite good enough to go through, I don't think, whole himself, but you can kind of touch bits.
Put your hand through and
Yeah, and touch stuff and things and look through.
You two hear this conversation carrying back down the corridor
Isn't there,
towards
like-
you.
What if something... Isn't there stuff in there?
Yeah,
but you
loads
don't
of
wanna-
things and being all sorts of things.
Yeah,
Looking
you
through
don't wanna-
crawling out through is normally a suggested course.
I look at Ollie and shrug.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd normally recommend.
If only could shrug back.
I'd normally
It
look
gives
through
you that kind of-
form, stick
Yeah,
hand
he
through,
does.
yeah.
He puts his head on one side and sort of lolls
Okay.
his tongue out a little bit.
But it might... So it may not... He may... Anyway, I don't... I'll leave that to you guys.
I'm going to walk back
Yeah.
into the room with
I'm just going to
Garrett.
be like...
Right.
Can you walk?
I think so, yeah. Not like far or fast, but I need to walk to get down the tunnels because I need to show you where... Yeah, there's not another way getting down there. You do it slowly, be alright.
I will offer him a hand up.
Right, you offer him a hand up. His shoes are found. Whatever. Remember, I said the clothes he was in were pretty tatty and rubbish. They have been done away with, and some sort of clean fatigue type stuff has been found that he's put on. I say yes. You two come back, and Ron is helping Garrett to stand.
Right.
Standing turns out to be one of those things. If you don't do it for a few hours when you've been doing it for months, you've almost lost
I'll
it.
give him a shoulder to...
Yeah, he leans on you
Spot
quite heavily.
on.
Yeah.
Let's be off then. The car won't be long. Might
Alright.
probably take longer to get to the front door.
Yeah.
I'll start helping Garrett
Yes.
towards the car.
For once, you are not slowing down the party.
Yeah.
It was the guy who's been shot in the leg more recently. It's fine.
And has pneumonia.
Don't worry, I
Okay,
can
maybe.
fix that if you want.
I'm okay.
Out of character comment.
Right, the car meets you at the front of St Peter's and St Paul's and takes you to Aldwych.
Yep.
So Aldwych is near the Strand, and it was built not that long before the war, ironically, as an extra station that it turned out the world decided it didn't really need. However, it was built nice and deep because the plan was for it to connect up with the Piccadilly, which is one of the deeper lines. During the Blitz at the beginning of the war, which I say you guys are towards the end, so you're some distance removed from, it was immediately singled out, yes, as a really good place to keep people that was nice and far below ground. And what was initially a sort of slightly informal arrangement of people just kind of letting themselves in the intervening years has been formalised. There's now proper kitchens down there, latrines have been set up, there's almost
Kinetic radio ritual circles.
Apparently so. There's miles of almost of metal bunk beds been sort of shipped down there, and a significant amount of the population of that sort of central stretch of London can be found down there overnight. Obviously, in our modern world, we are used to the areas surrounding the Strand as being quite nice. In the 40s, not really quite as pleasant and affluent, and also pretty heavily hit in the initial attacks on London. So there are plenty of people that don't have access to shelters in their homes or wherever else they're happy to be living or working. Obviously, this is not the time of day where people normally feel the need to go down there. I mean, unlike the original Blitz, the doodlebug hits do sometimes happen in the daytime, but realistically, most of them tend to be aimed to hit London at night, because then the various barrage defences will be less effective, because they won't be able to see them coming. So there's still people coming up from last night, probably, and people basically going down to help clear up from the night before. So there's the familiar sight of air raid wardens who, even though there's not a raid on at the moment, are still helping direct and organise. And there's tons of people going down there taking down there's water supply down there, but taking down tea and food and all sorts of other things, extra bedding, extra blankets, taking down extra supplies for the latrines. There's a little sort of field hospital almost has been set up down there as well. So there are people taking down supplies for that. And basically, they've cleared out the last of the stragglers from last night and are getting ready for another night again. As we've said, where most of your characters were sleeping last night, it didn't affect you, but for this period in the summer of 44, there will be a lot of raids in very quick succession, and they're expecting to have to use it again tonight, as far as you can tell. Okay. There are a couple of senior air raid wardens seem to be directing people down into the old station platform when you get there. But you guys have convenient cards that Harry gave you.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll
You have
make our way
papers to
in.
wave at people to get them to step
Oh,
aside.
certainly, sir. Yes. Do you need any help?
Good morning. No, we're fine, thank you very much. We'll just be heading down.
Yeah. Carry on. So I say it's an older guy as the main sort of air raid warden. Looks in his sort of early 60s at this point, but very much snaps to military attention when he's shown you lots of papers and things.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you,
Without
sir.
people like yourself, the whole war effort in London would be on its
He
knees.
sort of draws himself, but thank you, sir. Right, and you can start to make your way down. Obviously, certainly for this period for Aldwych, and that anyone's got
So is
the
it
power
quite
to work.
busy?
Not as busy as it would be if you come in the evening, obviously. No, but there are people going up and down, basically because
It's
there's.
not deserted,
It's not
basically.
deserted.
How busy it
Yeah,
is,
no.
'cause I really don't like crowds.
No, it's not that busy, definitely not. There are people are mostly using the steps because the elevators are costly to run. So they're mostly using the sort of staircases down. It's certainly not that full, no. But there's women going down there with mops and buckets and stuff, basically, to be cleaning and things. But everyone will kind of keep a sort of slightly respectful distance from you guys, because in any small group, they've got ministry papers. It's going to sort of spread like Chinese whispers, isn't it? So people are giving you a fairly wide berth. They're waiting on the sort of landings for you to carry on before they go down after.
It's a very
and that kind of
random
thing.
uniform.
Yeah.
Well, I think at this point they're choosing to just, oh yes, it's too confusing. We're just going to assume it's ministry and ignore it.
I don't think you guys are in uniform, but he's Andrew's in fatigue. So
Mountie gear is the only stuff I've got besides my combat fatigue.
Yes, basically. So they're just letting you go, right? So
you'd acquired other stuff. You still
not really.
still the bright red jacket and whatnot.
See, I've not been in England very long.
Fair enough.
And no one's really giving him any civvies or anything. They didn't
Basically,
need
the
to.
regiment arrived not a whole long time before D-Day.
No.
So yeah, and D-Day's only just happened.
You've been here like 6 weeks, something like that. Right. So, as you get down towards the bottom, again, there's like makeshift signs been put out. This way to the kitchens, this way to the hospital, this way to the trains, this way to bunks 1 through 70, and this way to bunks 70 through 142, and all this kind of stuff. And Andrew says where we want to go is okay. So, there's, if you like, almost the newest section that's been marked out for bunks is where he starts heading towards.
Okay.
So you go past a
I presume he's leading us in the direction that lines up with where we've been told it is.
Yeah. Because Nick basically gave you the coordinates as well, effectively, didn't he? So, you go down along. So, what would have been the train line platforms, and actually, you realise, except for a very thin layer of planking, still is the Piccadilly line platforms. The first time you hear the train go through, is where most of the sort of oldest established bunks are. So you walk along through them, and then down what would have been some sort of service corridor or something, which seems like the newer bit. But it looks like they're still expanding. There's people down here setting up new ones.
On the way through, did we see anyone that looked like mechanically minded?
Well, there's guys putting together like giant flat pack, if you like, metal bunk stands and all that kind of stuff that look like workmen. Yeah.
Can I ask one of them? Do you know anyone that might have tools to like open grates and stuff to get to other areas of the station?
We got keys to most bits, but no, we've got torches and stuff, and like some crowbars and things, mate. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we've got some.
Okay, one or two of you come with us then?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I believe there's a grate we need to get to show them.
Yeah, ministry papers, yeah. A couple of them come with you with sort of tool bag type things they would have had at that point rather than boxes. Right, so you go down the service tunnel past where they're building the new bunks, and then Andrew, after a little way, there's like a small door section, which he goes towards. One of the guys starts fumbling his one of the workmen you've disturbed starts fumbling his pocket for a key or whatever, and Andrew sort of takes one out of his pocket of this coat thing that he had, and they're like, and he pops down through here, and basically you've got a side tunnel. It's almost a little bit odd coming through to this, because this is technically a sewer system. It's a dry section, but it's a sewer system. But this ceiling height here is massive. These are the big red brick sewers that the Victorians built to sort of crisscross central London. This thing's probably got 15, 20 foot of ceiling height. It's massive. Particularly coming from the sort of slightly sort of claustrophobic mid-20th century tube tunnels into this is sort of a bit like. And it's cool down here as well, whereas London's been a bit sweaty lately, to be perfectly honest with you. It's cool down here as well. It smells a bit funny because it is still connected to the active sewer network down other tunnels, but it's not actually that bad in the great scheme of things. Okay. Compared with random basements in Limehouse that you've been hanging out recently and things like that, it's relatively all right. With rotting cyborg in them, it's been pretty all right, actually. All right, he says so. Right, okay, so it should be. There is basically a 6 foot by 6 foot square of steel on the floor, and it's probably an inch thick.
Whoa, okay, that's pretty weighty.
That's going to take some shit. That's going to take, I think, all of us to move.
That's why I brought the Walkman. With the crowbars.
Right, yes.
Well, we need to shift this then.
Get your fingers under it without crushing them, and then several people to.
Right, being fairly sort of sensibly minded workmen, they sort of stare at it for a few minutes and have a bit of a scratch of heads and stare a bit. Possibly. And then
cigarette, an hour lunch break.
3 weeks later, we might have considered moving it.
And then come up with a system that they actually use some rollers to bring down some other things here. So they've got some steel rollers that they think will take it. So they will, between a couple of them, shift it up and put one in, and then sort of try and roll it effectively. They're not going to be able to do the full like log pile caterpillar thing, but they can hopefully get it up onto one, and then you can start to. Even if it then falls off the other side, it'll be off.
I'm going to stand at the side with Garrett and support him.
Are we wanting this to go back afterwards, or?
I think so.
Well, if conversation goes that badly, so Garrett says we won't need it, but
let's hope it doesn't. Okay, cool.
So, can they move it off and then leave without, I'll say quietly to the side while they're cranking stuff? Can they move it off and leave without looking?
No.
I think it's unlikely because they've got to put the rollers under it. It's Garrett. That's all right. Wartime papers get you a lot. He says.
Sure.
Do we reckon we could move it without them? Like, I mean, could you use forces to like bolster strength or something?
You could use forces to just help
Levitate
it move.
them.
Yeah.
I mean, once they've got a roller under the edge, once they've got the rollers under the edge, it'll be a good sight easier, yeah.
I mean, I could just melt the thing, but
No, I'm just wondering if I could do it without their help.
Should.
You could,
So,
but
like,
it would be really
use forces
vulgar.
to lighten
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you could. It would just be really vulgar. Or you could let them put the first, which means it'd basically be harder and more inclined to hurt you if it goes wrong. Or you could let them put the first couple of rollers under and tell them to leave, and then you could still
So
use
they can't
forces
really
to
see
do
what
it.
it is.
Yeah, but it will be easier at that point because it at least have a sort of pivot to it.
All right, okay.
Cool.
And you two are quite strong anyway, so you can
I'm
help
not.
as well. Oh no, you're not. All right, you're quite
Not
strong anyway, and you can
actually that
help,
strong.
Yeah, I can help.
Very nimble and very tough.
but not that strong.
that strong.
Right, so you can get them to put like the first couple of these big these sort of steel rollers they've got under it, and then tell them to go, and they will go if they're told. We'll wait just beyond the door though. Yell us if you want.
yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks.
Thanks for your help.
They seem to be disbelieving your ability to move said steel, but they do go back behind the door.
He's a sturdy chap.
Better be a sight more than bloody sturdy. Right, they go back behind the door. Also, getting them out of the way is better if you wish to do magic that's a bit less coincidental, because then they're gone.
Can all look the other way.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't
No, the
want-
rest of you are
that's what I was
fine.
asking, I didn't
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to do anything in front of them.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
Right, so he's got it on. Either you could try mundanely to just give it a really big shove and hope that you're alright with it, and get some of these guys to help you steady it, but you'll be the one doing the bulk of the lifting. Or you could try and use magic, various
Or
of
combination
them.
of
Try and
the
use-
two.
Yes, or a combination of the
Because
two.
Just before anyone does anything, is it possible that it's warded so there's an alarm that goes if magic's used in the area?
Garrett says, don't think so, but I don't
But
know.
you would have
so.
had to have done that, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
And
I
then-
certainly can't do that.
With my roll, I didn't see anything
No.
in the circle that was
Yeah,
like, okay,
He'll know if the circle is destroyed,
sure,
but you don't think he'll
okay.
feel anything. If you try to do magic
So I'm being
on the...
paranoid.
Yeah, if you try to do it on the circle itself,
Yes.
he'd probably feel it.
Okay.
Sure.
But in its vicinity, it's probably alright.
Okay.
So yeah, like I use forces to make myself lighter when running across
Yeah,
the
yeah,
rooftop, so
yeah.
I can
You
do
can.
similar principle but to the steel.
Yeah, so I say for forces, say you're all about sort of balancing natural forces and things, aren't you? And you've got, you kind of got a pivot point here and things. You can kind of, yeah. Right. So roll your dice. That's forces 2, so that would be difficulty 5. So roll your arete, which is
Cool.
the 3 dice.
What does it mean if I use my thing that makes it easier?
If you use willpower, you'll get an automatic success
Oh, no,
on the
I've got,
roll.
You know how you've
got
got
a
something you
focus
associate a focus.
Oh, yep. Okay, so that will take it down to 4 to use that.
No.
No. Okay. This is unfortunately the way of magic in Mage.
No.
We just try and balance it and find the natural sort of flow points in it, and it doesn't move.
Can I think you've got that at the wrong angle. And I think there's an optimal angle that you can use to do that. I've got forces 2 as well.
Yep, you can give it a go.
3 successes.
Right.
There you go. Chung.
Yeah. It rolls along for a bit and then goes clatter, clatter, clatter off to one side. But it moves off of the circle.
Let's not get it falling off the rollers if we can manage. to
Yeah,
not
no,
have
I
it
think the
rollers
idea was
because we
just
want to be able to
literally
roll
make it
back.
lighter rather
Okay,
than it
that's
move.
all right. That's fine then. No, you can shift it.
kind
It
of-
doesn't clatter. It just sort of shifts uneasily to
I'm
one
more
side.
used to
Yeah.
natural
Right.
materials.
I'll probably help. I'll help move it, but I'm not contributing
Yes,
as much as you might
steadying
expect.
it. Yes. So
For the soldier. He's not
Revealed-
weak, he's just
Sure.
strong.
revealed underneath, somebody, presumably Garrett, has meticulously brushed and cleaned a section of this red brick floor that actually is beautifully laid and flat and a pretty good surface for writing weird stuff on. And then scratched on it, it looks like
That's
it's
what
been...
the Victorians had in mind.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It looks like he's drawn the circle in paint originally, and then he's gone round and sort of laid blood. But realistically, after a couple of days, you lot can't really see the blood at this point, particularly by the time plate steel's been dropped on it and rolled off again. So it basically looks like a paint circle on the floor at this point, with a slightly suspicious brown tinge in places.
I'm going to walk over and with my cane,
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
Start to scratch the bits. For the rest of you, this is full on sort of hermetic. It's massive. It's got like
Also-
3
my cane is
circles.
also my correspondence focus.
Yeah,
Just
exactly,
as an
yeah.
aside, it's just
It's got like a massive, it's like 3 circles inside each other. There's various symbols in those weird ass languages that Hermetics are given to writing in. You two have barely come across them. You've probably come across them and dismissed them as nonsense. There's, all sorts of weird Hermetic numbers. There's sort of zigzaggy bits in places, and there's little circles in other places.
Occasionally when I scratch one of them, I laugh at it because he's done the...
He's inverted, yeah. Yes, he's... God knows, it looks like gibberish, or some form of devil worship, or a bit of both potentially.
Why not? Oh no, hang on. That's what we're trying not to do.
Yes, demon worship is bad.
Yes.
Does my dog react at all to the...
Your dog does not like it.
All right,
It does not want to go near the circle.
I'm fine with that.
It's sitting back by the door, looking a bit stroppy actually.
When I'm done, I'm then going to find a hidey hole.
Yeah.
Garrett says, so there's 2 or 3 smaller tunnels coming up of here. I could probably call him any time now, actually.
Okay.
Okay, let's go
Okay.
out of the way then.
All right, I'm
Yep.
going to hide somewhere nearish.
Okay, and so the hope is just to try and get out of him when we're moving. And tell him I've not got
Mostly
Tony yet.
Mostly to just touch in and make sure. What did you tell him last time? Did you tell him you had Tony?
No.
No, okay.
I told him I was hoping to.
Yeah.
I'll tell him there was a raid, which, to be fair, there was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just tell him the raid interfered and you're still...
The kid's been
fine.
taken somewhere. Okay.
However,
Right.
once I'm in my hidey hole, going to draw my gun.
Right.
Just in
Just
case he
in
decides to do something I don't want him to.
Well, that's a good point, actually. Yeah. I set up some instrumentation so I can read any magic that's occurring.
Right. Okay. So, you retire to various hidey holes. Ron's taken the nearest hidey hole. There's little sort of sconces, almost, if you like, in this sort of thing. Probably all about fluid engineering.
Find somewhere to be out of sight. And
Yes.
Wait.
I'm not going to make you roll because really you've got like 40 minutes to try to find places that are out of sight of a single fixed circle, so I don't think this really requires a stealth roll. Right, and after a while Garrett steps into the circle. He sort of seems to be very precisely putting his feet so they're between the right set of symbols and not on any other ones.
Footprint shapes.
Not quite, no. The other guy doesn't think he's quite that much of an idiot. It probably...
But like his toes are on particular rims,
Yes,
and his heels have to be
Yeah,
there.
and they're both inside of that type of symbol,
Yeah.
but not touching the
He has
other
just
one.
one hand on
Exactly.
green and he has another one on...
It's not sort of satanic twister.
Slightly muffled
That would be awesome if you had to be like, I'm ready!
I can't hear
Can I
you.
prepare the area to slightly muffle sound?
Yes, you can as well. So roll your forces for that again. That'd be difficulty for
I can't hear you. Yes,
No.
that is the correct answer.
you don't like being down here in a weird red brick lined chamber in the earth. It's just weird. You don't like it.
I clearly don't.
The dog comes into your hidey hole.
I'm going to open my mind awareness to
And so
him.
you've got stuff going. I don't know if other people have sensory effects up. You really don't have to roll. You've got 40 minutes.
Sure.
You can just sit here till sensory effects go up. It can't hurt if you want to, but depends if your character's like
All of
to.
them.
Right.
All of the magical
Well,
sense.
you can. You've nearly got all of the magical sensors.
We haven't had any experience for a little while. I possibly should have some more. Another one.
Right.
There's a magic effect with all of the spheres and you get a headache.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The guy with 9 spheres has
All
got a
on at
headache.
once.
Something definitely happened. I don't know what it was.
It was too much all of everything to really piece together.
Yes.
I'm just going to go and lie in the corner for a minute and...
And sort of shake. Yeah. Right. So this is what happens. So he steps into the thing. He does not begin chanting any weird Eldritch languages or anything of that sort. Mostly because he's not a hermetic and doesn't know any weird Eldritch languages. He just stands there, and you can see that he's focusing and he's trying to activate some form of magic. And if anything, he's digging his nails into the palm of his hands as he does it. But you don't know if that's required or just habit. Right, and then you guys can hear this voice. So he said he wasn't certain if it was actually audible or in his head, but you can very clearly hear. And this is quite upper class British sort of accent. And
Proper
says,
villain.
yeah, report. Master, I wasn't able to get hold of the boy today. There was a raid last night on his street, and they've been moved to they've been moved to one of the backup housing points. I'm going to go there again now. Fine. Nothing fine. Well, it's not like you don't know the price of failure. I don't need to restate that. How's the creature holding up? Not good, Master. I was struggling to get him to move again this morning. I don't think he's very well. Oh, well, never mind. More of a curiosity than anything else, I suppose. Right, so your sister's here, you'll be pleased to know. She seems pretty good, so let's just keep her that way, shall we? So anything else to report?
Can I sense his mind at all in the space we're in? Or through the correspondence?
You have correspondence, don't you? There must be only one.
Correspondence and mind.
And you've got them up. Yeah, no, the mind is still remote, but you can sense the connection it's coming in on, yes.
Okay.
So he hasn't moved his consciousness. It's probably just for the best, because if you can do that, then you want to hide under something.
Any idea of how far away they are? And that's probably a stretch, but...
That's getting to possibly the point where you're risking getting...
Yeah.
I won't go down.
It's hundreds of miles rather than tens of
That's
miles.
what I had before, yeah. Okay.
It's the next station down.
Right,
the
so yes, I've identified the ecstatic you told me about with the artifact as well. I think I know where he's keeping that. I'll try and get that tonight. The cine reels. And he says, "Well, yes, good. I mean, it's not essential to the plan, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to have two goes at it, would it? Now, so anything else? I think I'm going to have to recite the circle after tonight. And you hear this guy's voice. Well, actually, to be frank, I'm struggling to hear you. I'm not surprised. You didn't do this very well. I did the best I could, Master, but there's been rats and things down here in the night, and they've messed up the circle. I'll draw another one somewhere else. I don't want to attract too much attention to it." And he said, "No, that's well, yes, all right then. Plans for you'll do it." So I don't know. I mean, will I need to set up another one when you move as well, or will it still? And he is very exasperated. "We have been through this. My location does not matter. Neither does your location matter. When we both draw the circles, they are in the same location. Do these Thanatos not teach you anything these days? I mean, for fuck's sake, why am I left with these simpletons? Right. No. Just draw the circle properly this time. Is that clear? Properly. I don't care what blood you use, but get it from somewhere and do it properly. Then you'll be able to hear. We're not going anywhere till, probably Monday or Tuesday next week, but it won't matter. It will be fine. Just draw the fucking circle." "Yes, Master." He sort of is vaguely glancing towards some of your sort of hidey holes.
I'm fully out of sight, so...
"Yes, Master. I will go and find a new place for the Oh, just do it. I don't care." Right. And you get the sense of the connection turning off at the other end.
I'm bored now.
Is that all right?
Yes.
I holster the gun.
Yes. No. That's so Monday.
Yeah.
So the magic's gone off.
Yes, the magic has gone off. So there was a correspondence.
Oh, he said that. Move your glasses.
So there is a correspondence mind forces effect was in use, of which the correspondence
mind and forces
were all to some extent disrupted as well by you,
Sure.
though. So, yes, correspondence, mind and forces, as its main sort of focus. It was you do get a bit of prime signature, but that just might be how they're powering it up and making it quite so good over such a long distance. That could just be quintessence rather than it actually needing a prime component. Your best guess is that the effect at the other end is anchored to a node. So anyone with the appropriate spheres, so yes, forces, mind or correspondence would have picked up the effect, and anyone with the appropriate prime would have picked up that it's being powered by a node at the other end.
Could I send anything more by the node, or would it be? I don't have correspondence or anything on this.
But you do have prime, don't you? You've got
I have, yes,
lots of prime. Okay, actually, no, you do have lots of prime, and you had time to set up your instrumentations. Mm-hmm. Quite a large node, but it's being run to it's being run over its capacity, and will probably go dormant for a while in the not too distant future.
Can we tell the direction the magic was flowing to and from?
Have you got correspondence?
No.
So you can't, but somebody with correspondence probably can.
I have correspondence. I will
Okay,
try.
you can try.
So do I.
Yep, people with correspondence can try and work out roughly.
I get a 10.
Well done.
Still one success.
It's sensory, so it's 4, yeah.
It's
three
definitely a
successes.
success.
Right. Definitely in a general southeasterly direction. You would actually put them on the edges of the southern border of Denmark, probably.
Jutland.
Yeah.
So, southeast of London would kind of be wrong direction. Do you mean it's north-east?
East southeast.
East-southeast, isn't it, for Jutland? Or am I going bonkers?
Yeah, no,
kind of-
well, Denmark's north of us.
Regardless, I mean Jutland. I don't have a
Pointing
map,
at Denmark.
and I have a terrible sense of direction.
east.
It's pointing at Jutland. There we go.
Right.
Yes, the very southern tip of Denmark, but I mean Denmark's been overrun by the Reich at this point pretty much anyway, so
Oh, yeah,
Um,
it's completely
yeah,
occupied.
it's completely occupied, so
I will say Denmark.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Can I get any resonance of the node or anything?
the resonance of the node, it feels very earthy and autumnal and slightly fermenty.
Might help us identify where they are.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't going to be that many nodes of that size.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Order will have records.
Cool. I have a library.
You do. There will be records of big nodes in that area. Again, there can't be that many.
Yeah.
And this is a moderately large one, but yeah, it's being overrun by its capacity. But for those not familiar with nodes have like a certain amount of quintessence they naturally produce. If you've got primes made, you can start to try and draw more and more out of them. But if you draw more out than they naturally give out, that will work for a bit, but then they'll effectively dry up for maybe days, maybe weeks, maybe months.
Maybe
Until they,
forever.
or maybe forever. You can literally wreck a node. Yeah, and then it will take a while for anything to come back out of it again.
So someone who may be on their way somewhere else
Doesn't give a damn, no.
doesn't
Exactly.
care, and he's a evil.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas if you're the chantry of whom, and this node is everything that your chantry is based around the success of, you look
Very
after it very
carefully.
carefully, and you have a rota for who's allowed what and when they're allowed it, and
Absolutely.
you make sure it's looked after. Or if, for instance, you're in a massive hurry and there's a bunch of werewolves after you, take everything you possibly can and then run. Which is also a terrible plan, because then the werewolves hate you even more.
Yeah, but that's not always what you're thinking.
No, that's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
always top of your priority list at the time.
So we have a time frame.
We do.
Actually, but it's Thursday, I think, isn't it? It might have been
Yeah.
Friday, yes.
Yep.
So early
got a
next
few
week.
days.
You've got a few days till
Got
they
a few
move.
days.
Unless he's going to blip with correspondence, it's going to take him a few days to travel to Norway as well.
Yeah.
But he's a correspondence master, it's not
I
impossible.
was going to say, he seems to have these circles and things everywhere. I suspect
Well,
when
if
we
he's in
spoke
Denmark and
Yeah.
get a plane, he can get there
in
rather swiftly.
4 or 5 hours, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Even the fjords are a tricky thing, but yeah, even so.
Mm.
Particularly if there is actually an established sleeper Reich presence at the site as well, they'll probably have an airfield set up.
Or I'd rather get there
It'll
before
shake you
he
up.
does.
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
So, are we going to move this circle then, or?
I don't think we should. I think what we should do is Mr. Garrett here should remain and keep reporting in whilst we head.
I think Garrett said I did tell him I'd do another one.
We could move it. Could move
Probably
it.
makes sense for you to find somewhere a little more easy for you to get to
Now that you're hurt.
in your state as you.
Well, all right then. Let's break this one down.
And
Then.
not next to a bunch of civilians, so that if anything violent did come through,
That is another
a more
point
defensible
as well.
position, because if it,
If I make, I mean, I obviously shouldn't make it in the middle of a hospital or whatever. That'd be a terrible plan. But if we make it somewhere defensible, that's a good point. If he decides to come through at night, there's
in case people can come through,
thousands
someone else
of
comes
sleeping
through.
people through that door.
Yes, let's not leave it here.
Let's break this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, now we can ask Harry if he's got any good locations for it, but I would have thought somewhere underground would be good in case any explosives come through.
Garrett says he's
and somewhere
only
defensible,
he's only
but not-
expecting me to check in once a day at the soonest. It quite often goes 2 days.
Must be a bunker somewhere.
that's not currently being used as a shelter.
There'll be something.
Good, that's a good idea. But we need to keep that communication so it keeps him wherever he is. potentially for longer.
Well, just
Or until Monday or Tuesday.
just keep him going because
Absolutely. And then we can head
Garrett
as
says-
soon as possible.
While I keep checking in but reporting general lack of success, he will probably just continue to ignore me and do what we hope he's doing anyway, i.e. the plan we already know.
Yes.
If I check in with anything surprising, he might change his plan.
Yes. But we definitely want to get there before him.
Yes.
so that means we need to get moving.
Yes. So do we stop by Rachel?
Yeah.
St.
Yeah, I
Paul's?
think so.
Well, Harry seemed to imply when you spoke to him that it was going to take him the rest of today to make arrangements anyway, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like we can't just start walking.
Sure. No.
So
Yeah.
So, in which case, as it is heading for end time, I think, should we say that you take Garrett back to the hospital
yeah,
in time for his 2 o'clock penicillin?
yeah.
After scrubbing out the circle.
After scrubbing out the circle with
Yeah.
some bitumen, probably borrowed from the worker guys, because that's pretty definitely going to destroy anything that was down there. And
But not using magic.
but not using magic. And then you, drop Garrett back at the hospital and make your way to St. Paul's, which, in the highly unlikely event people have watched this and not heard of it, is a massive, massive cathedral in the centre of London. It was built after the City of London was rebuilt following the Great Fire of London in the 17th century. It's a massive, massive cathedral with this enormous central dome, which is something you see very much in British architecture otherwise. And it is absolutely covered in various things, like the site is protected with barrage balloons, and it's a site that can be reached from various gun emplacements around the city. Churchill has absolutely said that at all costs we must save St. Paul's.
It's like a symbol.
It's the symbol of London's resistance during this period. And you guys are heading there to meet, hopefully, a very nice chorister lady.
Cool.
Marvellous. We shall end it there for the evening then.
Cool. Great. Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for episode 6 of Masters and Monsters, Mage the Ascension game here on Goldblack Games. Please don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Please go and check out our Patreon. To all our podcast listeners, because this will be up on the podcast as well.
We're
Hello.
making rude signs and you can't see us.
Yes,
not.
absolutely. No.
Yeah, but only at Colin.
Check that out as well. Check out Flint and Steel. We're coming back for season 2 in a week. And check out our Zweihander show. I'm saying that right now. That as well for the
You're saying
Kickstarter.
it in the wrong way, but
The wrong way.
oh.
Anyway,
Oh.
thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks for more Masters and Monsters. Until then,
And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.
thank you.
Bye.
And wave.